Hey everyone, welcome. Today we're diving deep into one of the oldest and honestly one of the most powerful stories ever told, the Book of Job. It's an incredible narrative that wrestles with a question that, let's face it, we've all probably asked.
That's the big one, isn't it? When life just makes no sense, when things feel deeply unfair, where do you even begin to look for answers? Well, the Book of Job doesn't shy away from this. It tackles it head-on, taking us on this raw journey through pain, confusion, and finally to a kind of wisdom that's so much bigger than simple answers.
All right, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with Job's life turning completely upside down. Then we'll get into the heated debates he has with his friends. After that, we'll explore the really surprising climax of the story. And finally, we'll unpack what this ancient wisdom means for our lives right now.
So let's kick things off. First, picture this guy, Job. The story describes him as a genuinely good man, totally righteous and blameless. He's got it all, a beautiful family, he's incredibly wealthy, and his faith is rock solid. And then, boom, in what feels like an instant, he loses everything, his kids, his wealth, even his health. He's left literally sitting in ashes, with no idea why any of this is happening.
Now, while Job is in the middle of all this, three of his friends show up: Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar. And they mean well, they say they're there to comfort him. But here's the thing. They show up armed with this very rigid, black and white idea of how the world works. And their comfort pretty quickly turns into something a lot more painful.
So check this out. Their whole argument basically boils down to a super simple and kind of brutal formula. If you're suffering, it has to be because you sinned. Period. They start accusing Job of all sorts of secret sins, like greed or mistreating the poor. They just keep insisting, hey, just confess, repent, and God will fix everything. It's this neat little theological box. But Job's life, his reality, it just doesn't fit.
But Job, he's not having any of it. He refuses to accept their easy answers because he knows deep in his bones that he's innocent of what they're accusing him of. His absolute refusal to back down, plus the fresh perspective from a younger guy named Elihu who's been listening in, really pushes this whole conversation into a much deeper, more complex place.
Okay, so this is where the debate really heats up. On one side, you have Job, who just shatters their whole argument with a simple reality check. He's like, guys, open your eyes. Wicked people prosper all the time. He's not saying there's no justice. He's just saying it's clearly not a simple cause and effect system. And then Elihu jumps in and adds this fascinating new layer. He suggests, hey, what if suffering isn't punishment at all? What if it's more like discipline, something that's meant to teach us and bring us back to God? And this idea really gets to the heart of what Job himself believes is happening to him. Even though he feels like God is totally hidden, he never actually loses his faith. Instead of seeing his suffering as a penalty, he sees it as a profound, agonizing test, like a refiner's fire that he's determined to walk through.
And this one verse, wow, it just perfectly sums up his entire mindset. Job is clinging to this deep conviction that there is a purpose in his pain. He truly believes that if he can just endure this process, he's going to come out on the other side not broken, but purified and stronger, just like gold. Elihu then builds on this with this incredible metaphor. He compares suffering to bitter medicine. Yeah, it tastes awful, nobody wants it, but it's given by a doctor, in this case, God, who uses it to get our attention, to wake us up spiritually, and ultimately to heal us. It's a total reframing of what pain can be. So we've had all these intense arguments, these passionate speeches. Where's this all going? Well, we're at the climax of the story now, and the turning point is probably not what you'd expect. It's not another speech. It's the exact opposite.
You have to picture this. For chapter after chapter, it is just noisy. Job is arguing. He's defending himself. He's crying out, demanding answers from God. His friends are just endlessly accusing him. There's this constant storm of words, all driven by Job's totally understandable feelings of injustice and rage. But right after Elihu finishes speaking, something amazing happens. Job just stops talking. The arguments stop. The complaints fall away. Faced with this overwhelming mystery, Job finally goes silent. And in that quiet, everything is about to change.
And listen, this isn't the silence of defeat, not at all. This is the silence of profound trust. It's Job's ultimate act of faith. He's letting go of his need to understand, his need to be right, his need to control the story. He just surrenders to a wisdom that is way beyond his comprehension. And that quiet act of humility is what finally opens the door.
And it's in that silence that God finally responds. He speaks to Job from a whirlwind, but, and this is so important, he doesn't give Job the easy answer he's been begging for. He never explains why all this happened. Instead, God takes Job on this virtual tour of creation, revealing the sheer scale of his wisdom and power, and showing Job just how small our human perspective really is.
The point God is making is both humbling and honestly kind of freeing. Our knowledge is like a single drop of water in a vast cosmic ocean. I mean, it's amazing. The text even mentions how the earth hangs in the void, a scientific fact that was recorded thousands of years ago. It's a hint at this divine perspective. So, true wisdom, the book says, isn't about having all the answers. It's about trusting the one who does, especially when we don't understand.
So that's the story. But what does this ancient, intense drama have to do with us, right here, right now? How can we take Job's journey and apply it to our own whirlwinds, our own trials?
Well, believe it or not, Job's story actually gives us a kind of roadmap for getting through our own tough times. It teaches us to trust the process, even when God feels a million miles away, to reject the easy trap of blaming ourselves or other people. It challenges us to embrace moments of silence amidst all our internal noise, and to hold on to the hope that these trials can actually refine us, making us stronger, like pure gold.
I absolutely love this analogy. Think about it. Your faith is like an inflated rubber ball. It's not about avoiding getting hit. It's about having so much trust and hope on the inside that when life strikes you, that pressure just makes you bounce back even higher. It can transform trials from things that crush you into things that actually lift you up.
So I want to leave you with this final thought, a question to kind of chew on. What's the noise in your life right now? The worries, the arguments, the complaints that just fill your head. What would happen if you let them fall silent, even just for a moment? What kind of deeper wisdom might be waiting for you in the quiet?